Hello, this is Bob Jackson. I'm the Educational Liaison with the PRISM Project here at Rose-Hulman. This is the second video or instructional video or webinar in a series of webinars that I'm going to do this fall. Okay, and I'm hoping to get some of the PRISM teachers out there to do some of these with me, or actually do some live webinars to help me out. So please, if you're interested, please let me know, and you can be the sage on the stage and share your ideas, because I know you have. I know many of you have some great ideas and are doing some great stuff with your students on the Moodle LMS and with your courses, with your online courses, whether it be hybrid or fully online courses. Okay, so please do share it with me. Okay, today's video, instructional video, shouldn't be that long, but I just want to share some thoughts with you on what I'm going to call as course authoring. Okay, when you have gone to teaching online and using Moodle to whatever extent that you are, whether it be a fully online class, which some have been forced into, or whether it is a hybrid course, whereas you have some instruction taking place in the classroom, or maybe predominantly in the classroom, and but you still need to provide information to students online because they're not there every day of the week, so more of a hybrid fashion. You might be using the Moodle LMS just kind of stored documents on for your students because you're predominantly doing the same type of instruction as you've ever done, and that's face-to-face in the classroom. But it can be a valuable resource to put your PowerPoint presentations and other course materials or ancillary materials, extra materials for your students to be able to access at any time. Okay, or even for parents to be able to access and see. Okay, okay. So anyway, this session is where I want to talk just a little bit about course authoring and get teachers to realize and understand how you become an author of your own course when you go to creating courses on any learning management system, whether it be Moodle, Blackboard, Canvas, Google Classroom. You are the author to your own course. Okay, and there's a lot of power in that, and it is up to you as a teacher, as an instructor, to make it as good as it's going to be. Okay, with the thinking and understanding that you want your students to have access to materials, but you also want to truly engage your students in the learning of your content, of your subject matter. You want good engagement, you want good learning experiences, you just overall want good things taking place as a result of you putting your time and effort and commitment into creating an online course. Okay, so now then, some things that I have to kind of add and put into the discussion of you being a course author are some of these types of things. Okay, and that is, once you become a course author, you can move away from being totally tied to a textbook. Okay, and I used to hate the fact, and I would move away from the textbook. I would start in a textbook even when I was teaching 20 years ago. I would start with the main concepts in the textbook, and then I'd move away from it using a whole lot of my own materials in chemistry, because I was all about application. Okay, and being able to, do some chemistry. Okay, and the book was just a starting point. Okay, once you start authoring your own online course, you can really truly enhance those experiences beyond the normal textbook, because you can pull in so many more resources and activities to your own course. Okay, and that's what I'd like for you to think about as you develop your courses on Moodle, is how to make them much better and enhance learning well beyond what you've ever been able to do. Now, I'm not trying to say take all your courses online. It's even if once we get out of this pandemic and you're in your regular classroom again, you can still provide students in the online format a bunch of valuable experiences, okay, to add to what you're normally teaching, because you can be the author of that content that is being provided to your students on a course in whatever format you put it. Okay, so some suggestions that I have to this, and I know that there's some around already, that I know Nora Walsh down in Evansville has done a series of webinars on going textbookless. Okay, and that's not using a set textbook. We're in that world now. Okay, I've taught Chemistry 100 college course, in which I taught it for a semester and realized that like 25% of my students were not buying the required textbook. And the reason being, that textbook's about $200. So after that first time teaching it, I went to an open education textbook, okay, on OER Commons. I found a chemistry textbook on there that was for college chemistry, and it's free and it's open source, and that's what my students have used. And then I get many more of my students using it. Okay, those resources are also available for K through 12. There's all kinds of open education resources out there that are high quality. Okay, if you go to like OER Commons, or you go to the Murloc collection, I can tell you those textbooks, those full online courses that are available, are fully vetted. They went through all the normal publishing processes and are very high quality materials, just as good as any of the textbooks you use. So what I'm saying is, when you go to authoring your own courses, you can access these types of materials and resources to integrate into your own courses rather than being tied to your own textbooks. But now then, if you have adopted textbooks, you can use LTI connections from those textbook companies, and I'll try to have a webinar on this because it take a while to kind of show those. You use the external tool on Moodle, and you can actually, for if you have online assignments, so forth, that your students are doing at your publishing company that from your textbook has online, then you can fully integrate that into your Moodle courses if you have not done so. So if the students go out there and do assignments at Pearson, okay, or Prentice Hall, or whichever place they're going, they do assignments on there, it can be fully integrated into Moodle. When they do the assignments, it will be integrated with Moodle and the grades put into the gradebook. Okay, and you see that they've completed assignments in one place. Okay, that is fully possible. So you can integrate a whole lot of your regular textbook materials into your course as a true integration. Okay, so it doesn't. I'm not saying just go necessarily totally open education resource. So you go both. Okay. So that's my first suggestion, is open your mind to how I can pull more and different resources in my course. I'm not going to be driven just by what's in my current textbook. Okay, and my course isn't just going to be the chapters of my book, rather what is best for me and for my students. And you know your students the best, and at whatever level your students are, whether it be at high school, middle school, or elementary. And like if you're at elementary, you can author this course to be more oriented that you have parents at home helping their students, and you can author it in a way that the parent is accessing the materials and helping the students with them, and it's up to you to author your course that way. Okay, now then, go to on the screen here. I'm on first year chemistry. Okay, it is the course that I was talking in my first video. I taught first year chemistry for years. Okay, so now then, in the first video, what I talked on just a little bit was organization of the course, from how I suggest that at the top of your course you put a course syllabus, put your learning objectives, whereas you're putting this out there not only for students to see, but the parents. And the organization is critical, and it's very important when you're authoring the course. Okay, and I talked, I think, down to where I was saying how it's important to put the titles in here, or the labels, are actually labels on Moodle they call them, to give organization within your units. Okay, and I didn't go much further than that. That is also actually part of course authoring. Okay, now then, when I author a course, okay, like this Chemistry 1 course, okay, I start with my course objectives. Okay, and of course you've probably got course objectives wherever. Okay, and you've had for some time. You've had your own lesson plans and so forth for some time. You're a teacher. Okay, but I've got my course objectives here. I will be honest that these course objectives actually go with the college chemistry course rather than this, but I want to put something on here for example. Okay, but my course objectives are in alignment, or should be in alignment, with standards for the course. Okay, like yours would be in alignment with the state standards for your course. They could be the very same, but they should be in pretty good alignment with. Okay, so now then, this was for a semester course, so you might have more course objectives than this for a year-long course, but it's all according to what your courses are, what your standards are. Okay, then my course objectives, and this is authoring my course and trying to make it not tied to a textbook and by the chapters of a textbook and one set textbook, are then my units on my course. Okay, so I've set my learning objectives out to be these. Okay, so those are my units of study on my course. That way, by this unit here, I am achieving this course objective. Okay, and all my learning experiences, activities, assessments, etc. are building up to obtaining this course objective. Okay, and that's when you set up your own course and author your own course, you got much more enabled to do this, more so than any other time, rather than being just tied to a textbook. Hopefully I'm making sense of that. Okay, and then it's up to you to build the content, in which you've done that for however long you've been teaching, into attaining this course objective. Okay, and like I'm saying, you got more power with an online course because you make it exactly what you want. Okay, now then, when you course on, I'm not going to go all the way down through on each of the things in this unit, because you very well know what kind of assignments you want if you're doing labs or demonstration and activities in your class. Okay, but now then, These are the typical assignments. These are the typical labs and demonstrations that I've always done with my chemistry class when I'm teaching about properties of matter. Okay, but now when I go to an online course, this online course is available to your students, each and every one of your students that's taking this course, this class. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, anywhere they're at, on their smartphones, on their whatever devices, at any time. So when you're in class, you got 45-50 minutes, and maybe even less, okay, to cover whatever content. Online course, it's not defined by time. So rather than confining your content in your course to just what you want the students to do, take it much further. Provide them more materials, more resources than you can ever cover in class. Okay, and I do this with my college classes I've taught, and I do it with my high school chemistry class. Okay, and that is like, and the way I set it up, you can set it up however you want. Additional resources for students. Okay, up here I have a slideshow presentation on. It's actually a video. It's actually put in a video format. Okay, for my students. Okay, but down here in additional resources, I have other videos done by other people, online videos by other people that I think are pretty good and may engage my students better, because some of them are funnier, some of them are goofy, some of them are whatever, and do things that engage students. Okay, and our students can access those at any time. Okay, but you can also put practice exercises, put more than what you just want your students to do. Now, some of them may or may not do it, and you know, no matter what you put on there, they're not going to do it anyway, but there are some that will. Okay, if you provide it, and that's a part of authoring your own course. Okay, take them well beyond, and in that you can take them well beyond the content that you covered, and that's where you get to ones really interested in the thing. So if you've done some learning on, like the unit I like covering chemistry is atomic structure, and applying atomic structure concepts to modern technologies. You can provide all kinds of neat resources in it that if you have some nurses and people interested in going in the medical field, I'm providing them all kinds of information on x-rays, CAT scans, stuff like that, because those technologies come out of atomic structure, or I feel come out of our knowledge of atomic structure. Okay, the way we get those machines to use. And then you get an engagement of your students, and it takes them much further than the content that you've covered in your course. And what I'm saying is, as you author your own courses, you can make them what you want. You can take your students so much further. It's up to you to do it. Okay? So those are just some of my ideas. I'd like to know some of yours. But the other things on course authoring is providing these over here. I think I talked in the first video. I put blocks over here. These blocks are real easy to set up. Okay, like this one, and this is where I put on my course common websites that I use as I'm teaching a course, or I refer students to. If you'll put them over here, it provides them quick, easy access, and like you can all go at it together. So like this one here, if I turn editing on, the way this one is set up, okay, what I do is I add a block. Okay, you see over in my menu if you have the boost theme set up. If not, if you have it on the classic scheme, you'll see it in your administration block down menus. You'll see add a block down on, it should be on the left side of your page, but you'll click on add a block and it will give you a block like this, except you won't see this in it. Now it's going to appear either on this side. If you're in the boost theme, it's going to appear over here. it'll be like down in here somewhere, okay, when it comes on there. But the way you put these in is when you get the block added, you're going to click on this edit setting here, go to configure, and then you can bring in your image, okay, browser repositories. That's going to take you to a file you have, or you can drag and drop it, okay, on, you can drag and drop them on here, okay, save them. An important thing to do is change the size down. If you see, I've got this in 150 to 65. If you first put it in here and it blows up great big in that in this box, then if you'll double click on it, it'll bring this image properties window up that you can change the size and get it down to a size that looks good. Otherwise it kind of blows up the whole thing. Okay, and I go save image. That saves the image, but what that doesn't do is it doesn't put a link. So you click on it again, and then you see the hyperlink right here, this, you click on it, and that's where you copy and paste in your URL. Okay, and that's another thing you can do in your course authoring. Okay, I think I've covered enough with this one. If you have questions or comments, please give me feedback also, what you think of these video series. Have another good week at school, and please, let's share, let's collaborate, and let me know other things that you'd like to learn about in these. Okay.